In order. All right, councillors around the table, staff, and members of the public who are present, we are going to call the Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting to order for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. It is first item, looking at our minutes. I'm looking for a motion to adopt the minutes from October 16th. Moved, seconded. Second, thank you. All in favor. Next committee meeting, December 18th in this room, 4 p.m. Addition to the agenda, there was one suggestion from Councillor Heed, and we'll call that 4A, and that is speed limit for number 3 road between Westminster Highway and Granville Avenue. We'll come back to that before manager's report. Any other additional items for the discussion? All right, moving then to item number 1. Application to 2024-2025 BC Active Transportation Infrastructure Grant Program. We have Sonali here ready to speak. The mic is on. Do you have anything you'd like to add to the item?
Mr. Chair, I don't have anything further to add to the report. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, so any questions yet? Again, this is an item to be endorsed, including a funding agreement and including in the consolidated 5-year financial plan. This project involves, we did get a letter on table, I think everyone should have beside them, a letter of support from a member of the public. And okay, and second that. Just a further comment I will give then, and kind of for staff as they're present. This does involve, as we see on page 12, two directions side by side, and that would take the place of the existing 3rd lane that exists from number 2 road to Linus Lane. So it's that northmost lane that most people would go in to turn right on Linus Lane to drop off at the recycle depot or to go to the works yard or other residents in that region. So just to confirm from staff, it would mean that whole lane is lost, and the new the existing middle lane becomes the right-hand turn lane for Linus Lane. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, that's exactly right. It's the project is proposing to reallocate the merge lane that no longer is required once the channelized right turn is removed, and converting that into a bidirectional bikeway.
Great, thanks. And just a follow-up question. On our page 12, the curb, which looks like a yellow concrete barrier, is it the full-size concrete barrier that would go the length of that section?
Mr. Chair, that's correct. The protection would be continuous along the bike lane.
Great. It's on the floor. Oh, sorry, we do have another question or comment now. Councillor Four, Councillor Heed.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification, because this is going to coincide with the intersection change there to deal with the right lane that comes off a 2 road onto Westminster Highway. That's correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Heath, that's correct.
So the lane just prior to you reaching Westminster Highway, as you're coming off the 2 road bridge, what's going to happen with that right turn lane? Will it remain at that length, or are we looking at some modification for the bike route, which is now an identified lane there?
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, the right turn lane, as you approach the intersection that develops from number 2 road, will remain. The difference will be that the existing channelized right turn that allows for the free flow movement, that will be replaced with a 90-degree right turn for motorists.
Okay, okay, I understand that, but this conceptual drawing of what we're going to do with the lane on Westminster Highway will come to an end at number 2 road, correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, it will connect to the bike lane on Westminster Highway that will be protected as part of this project and connect to the intersection.
Well, there is no bike lane after 2 road on Westminster Highway going east.
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, you're right, it would terminate at the intersection and connect to the existing bike lanes on number 2 road north of Westminster Highway for clarification.
Okay, so they would, in essence, they would have to stop right at 2 Road, the ones that are coming eastbound, get off their bike, cross at the crosswalk there, and then get on their bike to go, for example, northbound on number 2 Road over the bridge.
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, that's correct.
Do you think that's going to happen? What about the ones that want to just keep riding?
Through the chair, we're at the detailed design stage. The intention is to connect to the existing facilities. There may be some cyclists that do today take the roadway.
Okay, and I'm just trying to do some potential problem analysis here, because this looks good and the way it's divided in that. But a lot of people that ride their bike around that area link up off of River Road in the dike onto the 2 Road bridge on the west side to go over the bridge. I'm just unclear as to whether the utilization of this would be as such, or would they continue to come down Linus Lane to River Road, and then go up the ramp to the 2 Road bridge?
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, this would provide an alternative option. There may be some recreational cyclists that prefer to take the route that you've described, but this, based on our data, does show a strong desire line to connect to the Railway Greenway in Steveston and provide a connection that's more direct for the faster cyclists out to Sea Island.
Okay, the Greenway makes complete sense, and what we're doing with the new works yard makes complete sense, but what would we do to go from Linus Lane to McCallum pretty well, where you connect to the Greenway? Unless we're looking at using a portion of that property and sidewalk by the new works yard to be a bike lane.
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, in the interim, with the implementation of this cycling facility, there will be connection through the Linus Neighborhood Bikeway to McAllen. And in the longer term, we are working with the Works Yard project to facilitate that extension along Westminster Highway to McAllen.
And then connect with the Greenway.
That's correct.
So the former right-hand turn lane, or soon-to-be former right-hand turn lane onto Linus Lane from Westminster Highway would be gone then. You'd either have to be in the right lane and have to make a right turn.
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, that's right.
So there would be no exclusive right turn lane.
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, that's correct.
Okay, so I'm just gonna, again, draw to the attention that, and I'm not sure the new design of the works yard, and I'm hoping they'll have ingress and egress off of Westminster Highway and not Linus Lane where it currently is, because that gets highly congested at the start of the shift, and then the trucks going back and forth for the works yard, and then at the end of the shift. Are we looking at that, or the design of the works yard, are we looking for egress and ingress on Westminster Highway for the employees coming to work and leaving and the equipment going in and out?
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, we are still in the programming stage and at the design. We are considering all the aspects of the entrance and exit for the works yard to ensure smooth operations. We are looking at Linus and Westminster. We have not finalized that, but we will be coming to council with those details.
And Mr. Chair,
if I can. Is this on? Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Chair, if I may, maybe this helps. We do have an arterial roadway policy that limits driveways onto arterial roadways. That is one of our city policies. So from a transportation perspective, we believe that it should probably come from Linus. The transportation numbers or the vehicle numbers that we have right now and are projecting say that, this is completely within the ability of the intersection to handle once we take away the right turn lane. So from that perspective, the transportation perspective would be that it should come from Linus.
And I'll just point out to you, Mr. Bai, I live right there. I know exactly, and I experience that every single day. I know not to drive from Drover Crescent onto Linus Lane unless you're going to turn right rather than turn on left to go to Westminster Highway. When the employees come to work in the morning and when the employees leave at the end of the day. It is absolutely backed up completely, so I'd become absolutely, I'm just going to give you some forewarning here, be opposed to the ingress and egress to be solely on Linus Lane for the new works yard. So I'm not sure where you're getting your data from, but you may want to just talk to some of the people around there. This works yard is going to be an absolutely outstanding new public works facility. And if we don't do this right from the outset, we are going to have problems. And, I guess where I am, Mr. Chair, on this is for us to go to this expense to build this bike lane here, this dual bike lane, before we have any idea what we're going to do with the works yard to get it, and I believe it makes total sense to get it to the Greenway. Why would go through the initial expense here for a one-block strip when we don't have it further going all the way to the Greenway where people can utilize it and it makes total sense?
Thank you, Councillor Heed. Before I go to Councillor Liu, on our page 14, the context map, so that does show the segment we're talking about today with the white star on it. It shows the yellow routes, which are existing, and it shows the blue routes, which could come in the long term. But it also highlights one green stretch there along number 2 road that is considered medium term. So we very, very well could ask for staff to direct this funding opportunity to be a different active transportation route, like the one along number 2 road, where it wouldn't go by any portion of the future works yard, right? So maybe if I could just get a clarification from staff, would there still be an opportunity to shift the project focus for that with the existing timeline for this grant program, if we were to shift it to, let's say, the number 2 road segment?
Mr. Chair,
If I could, Mr. Chair. What I would suggest is that the timing for this block, so while it isn't as complete as you might like in the immediate term, it is time to coincide with the changes at the intersection. That's the catalyst for this. So once we change that intersection, it'll be that way for a long period of time, or it would cost quite a bit of money to upgrade it or change it again in the future. So that's the reason for the timing of this at this point in time. As to your question about if we could transfer that funding, I don't know that we could transfer it to the number 2 road project because we don't have a project right now. The time period that we would have to actually spend this money would not match that. We would actually have to have a capital program this year for number 2 road to make that happen. So, if that's what council would like us to do, we can certainly bring forward a proposal that does that. But I don't know that the $500,000 that we might get on this is the right reason to change our overall plan.
Great, thanks for that clarification and options to consider. We'll go to Councillor Liu.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to staff, thank you for this. So, question on this. Will this project be done before the River Road improvement that gets done? So there's that little River Road improvement with the dike change, everything else. This will be done ahead of that. Is that correct?
To the Chair to Council Liu, yes, this is scheduled to happen before the dike project.
Okay, because what's going to happen is that whole dike is going to get improved. So if I think of my bike ride out to Iona, I go up Railway, turn right at Railway, turn left onto Linus Lane, go through that Linus Lane. Right now, I go past the Works Yard and turn right on River Road. River Road doesn't have a bike path on it per se, so you just take your chances and off you go. There's going to be significant construction there, so I'm going to want to go a different way. And going along Westminster Highway and then turning north up 2 Road is going to be my route. I don't actually ride on the Riverway Greenway, but I could if I was not on a road bike, if I was on a slower bike, because the speeds are 15 kilometers. But I think this makes that bridge between the now and the next set of construction. And that's where you have a ton of cyclists right now. And the reason we're getting rid of the channelized lane is because it is dangerous for pedestrians and cyclists, and we're getting rid of them all throughout Richmond. So in that, we have the opportunity now to just make that little bit safer so people who are riding out to anywhere on Sea Island can get over there a lot easier, and it bridges that little space, because otherwise there's no other space that there's a bike lane to get there, right?
Through the chair to Councillor Liu, there's, as you described, there's a few different ways to get to the 2 Road Bridge, but as
But
you
if you're
just,
coming
yes.
from Steveston, like if you try and come from Granville up 2 Road, that's not a bike lane. So that little bit finishes that bridge and creates that connectivity so that you're always sort of on a bike lane or a bike route and out of traffic. Because you don't want to ride on 2 Road. You don't want to ride right on, some people are okay. I'm okay with riding on Westminster Highway and turning left with everybody, like with the cars, but not everyone is. And certain times of day, I'm not actually okay with it. And so I think this little bit of bike path is going to be really helpful for a lot of people.
Thank you, Councillor Liu. Back to Councillor Heed.
Yes, quickly, and I think staff is well aware of it. The route that they used to take down Linus Lane, they would turn right on the far side, the north side of Dover Crescent, go through, but we've blocked the bike lane off, the pathway, because of that project right on the other side of 2 Road Bridge. Then they'd go left, no, you could do it going north too. They had it a divided lane, would take you right to 2 Road, across and onto the bridge. I'm not sure, once that complex is completed, whether they're going to open up that multi-use path from Dover Crescent to 2 Road, to where you have a bike lane.
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, I believe that will be restored in its original state after that project is complete. What this connection will allow is a more direct connectivity for anyone heading out of Richmond northbound to Sea Island without having to cross number 2 Road.
Is there any, did you look at this, for example, in order for them not to cross 2 Road, was there any ability to do that dual lane on 2 Road where we have that current right turn lane and that small bike path by the divided by the bollards straight to the 2 Road Bridge?
Through the chair, I don't believe that option's been contemplated because of the proximity and the speeds on number 2 Road and the limited sight lines that might create some safety concerns. What this project does facilitate is in response to the cycling network plan, the strong desire and request by the public and stakeholders to facilitate this connection, because it does help to connect people that live down Linus and all the way down to Steveston via the Railway Greenway out to Sea Island. That doesn't exist today in a direct and continuous manner.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. So the motion has been put forward. We'll take a vote on this then. All those in favor? And those opposed? That is carried. Thank you very much, staff. Item number 2, the proposed 2025 paving program. And staff, Eric, would you like to make any further comments on the item?
Nothing further to add, but available for questions.
Great, thank you. I'll just note that our proposed paving program, the primary locations are listed on page PWT 19. I was really pleased in there to see the kind of number 6 road and Vulcan Way area getting notified, because it's quite a rough and tumble section of our roads, but all the other ones on there are also great, and nice to have secondary locations if some of these primary ones get postponed due to other utility works and such. So if there's a staff recommendation, receive this for information. Moved and seconded, Councilor Rao. Thank you. All those in favor? And those opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much, staff. Item number 3, the update on 2024-2025 snow and ice response preparations. It's not Larry Ford coming to the table today. I think we have an introduction to be had.
Mr. Chair, I'm pleased to introduce.
Oh, sorry, yours didn't go on.
Mr. Chair, I'm pleased to introduce Brandon Olson, who's the new manager of Roads and Construction Services and Public Works Operations. He started in his new role in July. He has been with the city for 18 years, so has considerable operations experience, and will take you through his report on the snow and ice response preparations for this year. Thank you.
Welcome. Would you like to add?
Yeah, just want to give an update, just a brief outlook on this year's weather. So this winter season, we're expecting to have a La Nina weather pattern. This typically brings short but intense weather events. For the Pacific Northwest, this means above average rainfall and cooler than usual temperatures, potentially leading to snowfall at lower elevations. And depending on the weather pattern strength, we also may experience a longer winter season. With this outlook in mind, I'm pleased to present to you our operational plan for the 2024 and 2025 winter season. There's nothing further to add to the report, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I just have a couple comments, and then do we have a member of the public who'd like to delegate to this? So we do note some changes from previous years. So there is a GPS technology that the public will have access to with some time delay, maybe about a 15-minute time delay or so. So you will be able to go on there and see the routes, and also be able to highlight the camera angles that we want to see for the road conditions and all that. That's great. Also some updates to the bylaw enforcement component to this, so the fines for not clearing sidewalks is up. A good overview on page 26 of the Snow Angel program and the Good Neighbor program. And also a map there, which I learned of the sensor locations. That information, the data that is collected there is not accessible to the public, but you can learn where the sensor locations are closest to you, and that will inform our staff of the diversity of road conditions from Steveston to Hamilton and how to deal appropriately. So we will excuse staff and we'll invite up our delegate, Evan Dunphy, please. Thanks. And you have 5 minutes on the screen somewhere.
Thanks, Chair and Council. I was going to be quick already, but you actually brought it up. I didn't see it in the report. I was going to ask about the public. I saw Mayor West in POCO today talking about their GPS system coming online for the public, and I know that it's something that had been included in previous capital plans for Richmond, so I was just hoping to hear how that was coming along, but it sounds like it's ready to go already. So that was my main question. And then my second thing that I was hoping to hear about was, I know Councillor Liu has asked in the past about smaller plows that were capable of doing some of the delineated bike lanes like on Granville and some of the downtown sidewalks. And I was hoping someone from council might be able to ask staff on an update on how that's coming. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Are there any questions to the delegate? Otherwise, I'll follow up with those questions to staff next. So if staff could come back up. The first question, I guess was somewhat answered already. The GPS technology is described at the bottom of page 24. Is there anything else to add other than the fact that it will enable monitoring of salt brine usage and optimal application with minimal salt dispersion? Is there anything else that we would expect to see, or the public would expect to see from that technology?
Yeah, through the chair, we will have a link to a view for residents that's going to be available during snow events, which will show locations of plows. As you mentioned, there's a 15-minute delay. However, this does show the locations of the plows as they're working during a snow event. It also shows the priority routes, depending on the area that you might live in or the way you're going to travel. Additionally, it'll also show the times, the elapsed time when that route was serviced by a plow. And further, there is the ability to select traffic cameras, intersection cameras, so residents and motorists can plan their routes throughout the city.
Terrific. And then the next question was in regards to the snow response equipment. We have attachment 1 on page 28, which lists all of our different units and the description of them. I recall from previous snow updates like this, we heard about the Kubota ATV with the plow attached to it. Would that be the main one that would deal with multi-use pathway clearings and such?
So through the chair, the Kubota ATV is more for city facilities, clearing entrance and exits for pedestrians at city facilities. You'll see on the item called the Willie machine, this is our piece of equipment that would help to address bike lanes. However, our first priority during snow events is to clear roadways for motorists and to city facilities. So typically these resources are dispatched to clear those priority routes first.
Okay, so it wouldn't be at the same time. It's not like there'd be someone assigned from staff to be in all those priority routes and then another staff person. It would be, you're saying it would kind of be the same people, they'd be operating the priority routes first and then they would take on the Willie machine?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Councillor Al?
Well, thank you for the report. And I think the experience in the past years was that basically, we did well in cleaning up the main roads after the snow. But I think probably I received more feedback after the snow. When the snow melted, they are always complaining about large pools of water along the roads and things like that. So I think, yes, we have a good preparation before the snow and during the snow, but how are we going to improve after the snow is melted and the water is here, there, everywhere? So are we making any kinds of plans for that?
Through the chair to Councillor Au. During storm events, additional staff are brought on to clear bus stops and wheelchair letdowns, and during that time, they are also clearing catch basins in advance of the warming weather and the melting snow. Additionally, they continue these efforts to clear catch basins as the weather warms up. However, when they're doing this during snow events, because our priority is the roadway, snow does pile up through the windrows of the plows that piles up the snow. So we do make our best efforts to clear catch basins, and then we shift into drainage mode as soon as the weather warms up and the snow stops falling, and we try to address all the critical areas and calls that we receive.
Great, thank you. Councillor Liu?
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you. Seems to me we just approved an additional amount of funding in the flood protection rates for some increase in the catch basins. Now, is that just for when the leaves are falling, or is it also include when there's snow on the ground?
Through the chair to Councillor Liu, I believe that's for regular drainage maintenance on the catch basins. That's not inclusive of snow and ice. That would typically fall to the snow and ice response.
Okay. And if we were wanting to increase the service on railway, what would be the process of bringing that forward onto the budget process again? Because I imagine the prices might have changed by now in gaining new equipment, that kind of thing.
Through the chair to Councillor Liu, just to clarify, when you say to increase the service on railway, do you mean snow and ice service?
Yes, on the Greenway. And you might not have been part of that question when it came up originally.
Mr. Chair, maybe I can assist with this. We did do a pilot on the pathways and greenways and determined that that was not going to be in the service level at this time. That would require a resolution or direction from council to relook at that. But when we looked at that, we determined that we wouldn't be able to do that with the resources we have because they need to focus on all the first priority routes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're looking for a motion for receive for information. Second, all those in favor? Carried. And welcome to your new role, Brandon Olson.
Thank you.
All right, on to item number 4, the public electric vehicle charging network, direct current fast charging expansion. And this one, we have 3 or down to 2 designated speakers. Please share anything you'd like to add. Once I give you my privilege. There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing to add to the report, available to answer any questions. However, I would like to make a quick introduction. Beside me is Dinos Ramos. Dinos's position is program manager in fleet operations. He has held this position since September, but has been with the city for 13 years. Dinos brings a large breadth of knowledge in terms of EVs, and he's been heavily involved in all of our EV station installations.
Terrific, and helping green the fleet. That's excellent. Any questions from committee? I'll just highlight then that there's a map of kind of the existing charging stations on our page 36. That's attachment 1. And then we can see on the last page, 37, the red locations there where we're planning to add these DCFC expansion. 2 sites of which already have charging stations, but the Richmond Curling Club does not. So this would be the first for that location. And I do see now there's a question coming from Councillor Heed.
Yes, I don't have an electric vehicle yet. The fee we charge at our city located ones, how is that determined, and is it within the industry standard? Is there a common number that they utilize?
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, our fee is in line with what most other municipalities are charging. We constantly evaluate charging rates, and staff are currently looking at bringing forward a report in Q1 of 2025 to identify potential options of other charging rates.
And how is that in comparison to the commercial rates?
Through the chair to Councillor Heed, our rates are generally in line with what is being charged in the commercial sector.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we've had a recommendation have this endorsed and be part of the budget process, council consideration. Is it seconded? Right here. And then all in favor? All opposed? That is carried. We're now going to move to item, which was added, item 4A. This is from Councillor Heed to speak to speed limit, number 3 road from Westminster Highway to Granville Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be making a referral motion with respect to this, and we've heard from various groups, for example, on ensuring that pedestrians don't become victims to being struck by a vehicle or whatever. We've heard some of the poverty groups come forward, some of the senior groups come forward, and we've looked at other areas and we've reduced speed limits simply because of the danger that pedestrians could be involved in with this. Recently, I have not only noticed, but have spoken to several individuals regarding number 3 road from Westminster Highway to Granville. And matter of fact, if you look at the crosswalk, the activated crosswalk, just in front of City Hall, trying to get across 3 road. You take your life into your hands, given what's going on. So my approach from a preventive point of view is to ensure pedestrian safety along 3 road from Westminster to Granville, especially around the Candle Line station, that we have staff review the speeds in that particular area with the thought of reducing it from 50K, which is a standard speed limit, down to 30K.
I'm going to first see, does staff acknowledge that, and is that enough information to go forth with a referral to do a traffic study? Mr. B?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, certainly if the committee would like us to do such a study, we will certainly do so.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Liu?
Question to staff, don't we already have an outstanding referral to look at various different places or to look at reducing speed limits in Richmond?
Through the chair to Councillor Liu, we've kind of fulfilled the ones that we've been asked to do so far. We are always listening to the public, and they are making some requests that we do that in some locations, and you'll probably see some of those come forward in the new year. But we generally don't have them on arterial roadways. At the end of the day, even I don't think even Vision Zero or Transport 2050 discussed reducing speed limits on arterial roadways, just mostly local roadways and things like that. Having said that, number 3 road could be turned into some kind of more pedestrian-friendly mall in the middle of the city, much like you have in Granville, downtown in Vancouver. So I wouldn't be opposed to that sort of thing either.
Thank you. I think it's still a major thoroughfare, so if we want people to go around it, that's one concept, but if it's still a major thoroughfare in Richmond, I also not sure when anyone can actually get up to 50 kilometers, because there's about 7 stoplights between here and there, so it's surprising anyone can go that fast. I was there the other morning when we were handing out reflectors and people were continuing to walk against lights and everything else, so maybe we should be handing out jaywalking tickets first and teach people how to cross the road.
Councillor Au.
Yes, I don't mind having a traffic study in that area, not just about the speed limit, because I agree that there's a kind of a difficult situation along the Missouri Road in that section. And I also agree that, we have 6 or 7 lights, just in that 1 kilometer length. So, and I use that a lot. I walk along the Missouri Road a lot of time. And I think that the problem is not just about cars and speed limits. It's really, too many people, roads might be too narrow, and people are not following those traffic lights and things like that. So if the referral is going to have I would say, a general study about that section and maybe also the area around it, I would say yes, go for it. But if it's only for the speed limit, I think probably is too narrow and might not be productive.
All right, I'll go back to Councillor Heed to make the formal referral motion, if so.
Just a couple of comments with respect to that, and we all know that jaywalking's been quite a problem. I think Councillor Hobbs can attest to it. We've tried to do the strict enforcement, even in the 100 East Hastings, and the amount of resources that it took, it didn't change the behavior one iota. So again, I think if we take the one step of at least reducing the speed limit to 30K, advertising the fact that it's reduced, that we may get a lot more of the drivers paying attention, at least, because if we're trying to go through strict enforcement against the pedestrians, good luck. 32 years I tried that, it didn't work.
So I'll second the referral motion, and then we'll call the question. All those in favor? Those opposed? That is carried with Councillor Liu opposed. We are now moving on to the manager's report, which I've heard there's at least one. So I'll call up.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to provide committee an update regarding the lowering of the speed limits in the Steveston neighborhood. As committee will recall, on November 12th, the council adopted bylaw amendments to reduce this posted speed limit in the Steveston neighborhood from 50 kilometers per hour to 30 kilometers per hour. And the associated signage has now been implemented in the neighborhood to reinforce that speed limit. That was done this Monday. It was all complete, and since the signs have gone up, staff have received significant positive feedback from residents, citing appreciation for the city and that they feel more safe walking and cycling in their neighborhood, and we haven't received any negative correspondence. I just wanted to pass that along to committee.
That's terrific. That's a good news kind of update that we like around here. And I don't see anything from Councillor Day, who's attending virtually. So with that, I'll look for a call for adjournment. And we are adjourned. Thank you.